I didn't realize I hit record, but anyway. So I was just thinking, kind of random, but not really random. Nothing's really random, but anyway. I was thinking about just like the current status of how things have been going for me, through me, with me, whatever. And I just kind of thought about a prayer that I had prayed a while back where I basically asked God to sit on me gracefully. And I guess what I meant by that was just knowing the state of where I am, the things that are weaknesses for me, the things that I may need help with, the things that I simply can't take with me to my next, that won't help me manifest into the person that I'm supposed to be. Like how can you do that? Like, how does that process of moving from where you are and the due process, I guess honestly the process of deliverance is really what I was asking God to do in a private way, because of course nobody wants to be embarrassed publicly, but I think there is a time and a place for it when you've exhausted grace and things of that sort. But we most certainly don't want to, abuse grace. But then I think there are those moments where you wholeheartedly just need help. Like, I need help with this thing. Like, this thing is literally beyond me. But I still have a heart for God, and my posture is for the thing that is right, even though it might be a struggle. So that was my whole point. It's like, can you sit on me gracefully? Like, I do want to be captivated and like completely submitted, but do it gotta be in public? Like, do everybody gotta know? I guess was my point. But in asking that, I realized that that means some private areas of your life, if you want him to deal with you in private, some private areas of your life might turn into hell. I mean, how can you avoid it? You ask him to come in and do a private work, which means that it will have to be in a private environment, which disturbs your private setting. Because, I guess that's the real question, is like, how can you avoid the discomfort in your private areas if that's what you requested? So, I tested it out, and of course, all this conversation started as reflection, wondering like the state of where I am and how it got this way, with some of my private areas just being so off, just terrible, honestly. And I'm like, what happened? Like, honestly, what happened? He was like, that's what you asked me for. And I was like, what? Say what? And it's like, every calamity that comes your way, every disturbance, every trial, every storm, however you want to call it, every disappointment, isn't bad. Like, it has to be a different frequency than what you're on in order to get you off of that and move you in the direction that you say you so desire. Like, I never considered the fact that calamity could come to honestly be a gateway to favor. Yeah. A gateway to favor, in that if you trust that due process of it not feeling good, it shaking up, what you know to be normal or comfortable, or even what you think you're supposed to be doing, if you'll literally just kind of like trust that once you make it through this thing, that there is, first of all, he's gracing you to make it through it, with not even a smell of smoke attached to you, when you get on the other side of it. That's the grace in it. And then the favor that you trusted him, and that what he has on the other side of it is in fact better, is amazing. That it all came through the gateway of calamity. And so I was just like, wow. At the very least, it'll invoke compassion. You'll better understand people who experience a thing that you thought you may never. For example, depression. I ain't have a heart for that, because I'm like, what you want to kill yourself for? Why? Like, that's the way that he had to get my attention. I never had a real understanding, or like, I understand it, but it was like, it's not that deep. Ain't nothing that I'm experiencing gonna get me to a point where I don't want to be here no more. Like, over. But I found myself in that place. I found myself overtaken by the spirit of depression because of things that I had done, or just things that I had found myself encountering that led me to that. And because I had to experience it, because I had to go through that process, because I had to, all that, I came out of that with the very least and invoked understanding or compassion for other people that found themselves in that place. And it allowed me to even be able to advocate and intercede on their behalf, because I'm like, I understand that I had the compassion. Whereas if I had never, I wouldn't have. Not including the fact that I was delivered from it. You talking about some humble pie. That'll cause you to be humble when you realize that his arm was not short, that it was long enough to reach you and your raggedy self wherever you found yourself. And my low was lower than I ever thought I could be. And the weird thing is, nobody else could really tell unless you were like right here with me, like close family. I can count on one hand how many people really knew where I was located. Most people couldn't tell, because we have this thing where we continue to do the work, we continue to serve, we continue to labor, we continue to stay busy, essentially, to basically hide the fact that we're broken, hide the fact that we're depressed, hide the fact that we're suicidal. I was still leading praise and worship, still doing my thing and doing well, because he's gifted me to do such a thing, but I was broken and 2 steps from clocking out. I mean, I think I even read in Isaiah, maybe like 50, Isaiah 52, 1 or 2. It was simply talking about, God challenging the people of Israel, talking to them about their obedience or the lack of thereof. He was like, is my arm too short for you? Am I not enough? Basically, like, why don't you believe that I can rescue you from whatever it is that you're going through? And sometimes us denying the help simply looks like being busy. It's like, no, I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and maybe I can outwork this thing that's holding me down, or maybe I can hide here long enough and nobody sees it, and I'm gonna just figure it out. Let me tell you something. If you could figure it out, you would have did it already. Just save yourself the headache. It's an extension of pride to think that we can fix our own things when you clearly have not. You clearly haven't. You simply need his help. Well, spoiler alert. I hid. I ain't gonna tell you how long. Yes, I am. I think I hid probably for 2 years. I hid. In that time, I went through a whole lot. And again, like I told you earlier, some of it was at my hands, some of it was, attacks, if you will, or just circumstances that were not favorable to me, and things that I was forced to deal with. But my leaders at the time didn't really detect it, and this is nothing against them, because it's two-sided. But I had mastered the way of continuing to work, continuing to serve, continuing to do the thing that I was asked to do, and completely broken privately. So when I asked God to sit on me with grace, that was the area that I was really invoking and asking him to come and meet me. And y'all, you gotta be careful what you ask for. And I say that because it meant that I was no longer going to be able to get away with doing the work that everybody else, and we're talking about kingdom, not just, like my job or profession. I'm talking about doing ministry. Everybody else was pleased with the effects of how things were going by me simply using the gift that God gave me. But of course, we know gifts do come without repentance. So God almost kind of like gives you a gift, and it's free will how you use it. Okay? And so that's the place that I kind of found myself picking and choosing how I was going to use it. I was using it, yes, to help edify and do things like that, but primarily to hide. And so when I asked for him to change that, I really was asking for him to disrupt my area of comfort. When you're asking God to help you, it could possibly be him disrupting your place of comfort, the thing that you are most comfortable with, people you are with, thing that you're struggling with. He getting ready to shake that up. Like, shake it up. And you're gonna be mad. You might be mad. You probably be mad. But you'll get over it, because again, I cannot stress to you how terrible it is to look like you're working towards the thing that God called you to do, but not really. The way that we serve, the way that we work, matters just as much as the work that we're doing. Let me say that again. The way that we serve and the way that we work matters just as much as the work that we're actually in fact doing. You can't just do it and say, well, I mean, I did my part. But how did you do it? Why were you doing it? What's the motive? What was your heart behind that thing that you offered up to him as a gift? If it ain't right, baby, you should have left that gift at the altar and got it together, then go back and pick your gift up. That's in James. And it's not just for offense, because if you offended him, my Bible scholars, I'll drop out my links later, but I just need to get it all out. But yes, it really does make you consider, because again, these gifts are free and in the way that we use them, but he does admonish us to consider the way that we do it and a blueprint for, if you so desire to handle it with excellence, this is the way that I would like for you to do it. I would like for you to sit your gift down. It is more profitable for you to lay your gift down, handle whatever issues that you have, pick it back up, and then give it to him, than to simply operate and be consistent, and broken. That's what he really don't want. He'd rather us rest or go take care of a matter privately or however you need to do it than to just continue to work. That's not something that he considers a sweet aroma in his nostrils at all, or even a sweet sound. It might sound terrible and smell bad to him that we just keep working without our heart. Not when we intentionally are doing it and the purpose is to hide. I believe that as they went, they were healed. Yes, he does say that very clearly, and that's a whole different method for deliverance, because I'm not doing it from a place of I'm just going to keep doing my work to hide and avoid the work. I'm going to actually work through my work. And I think that he also honors that. So there are some situations where you just kind of keep working, and because you're so focused on what is concerning him, he focuses on that thing that concerns you without you actually having to manually figure all the pieces out, like he's working behind the scenes for us. That's another way. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the blatant disobedient one that has pride that literally is before the fall. And that's just the result of it when you try to do it that way. And I found myself at the end of my rope, and my thing was, I'm good on all this. I'm about to check out. Or I'm gonna give it to him for real. And he's doing it for real. It got ugly, but it got better. Honestly. It got ugly, but it got better, because I had to be real with where I was and how I was going about doing this work. And y'all, I think that convicted me just as much as the process of being delivered, was the fact that you entrusted me to do a thing for you, and I used that as a way to hide from you. Sound like the first example of hiding to me. I mean, Adam literally took a thing that was created for a whole different intent and used that thing against God, he thought, to hide from him. Like, who you think you are? First of all, I made that thing that you're trying to use to hide from me, and then I'ma still come knocking at your door like, what you doing with my stuff, and what you got going on? Because that's not what I told you to do. That's bad. I guess, the whole point in sharing all of that was, just be okay. Be okay with the process of whatever God needs to do to strip you, to, break you down, to mold you in, or to refine you into whoever you're supposed to be, whatever you're supposed to be doing, girl. Boy, just trust that he knows better. And if it feels like calamity, don't always chalk it up as the devil did that, because sometimes God he'll use whatever he need to use to get your attention, especially if you're stubborn like me. Or strong-willed. I like to call it strong-willed. If you're strong-willed or determined or whatever, he has to find a way to get our attention, because I'm not easily broken. That's the truth. And so it's like, I'm going to break you down, because I'm going to get your attention if you say your heart is really for me. So just trust that he knows what's best. And it's going to work out, y'all. It's going to work out, because we love him too much for it not to.